never know what type of weather you're going to get in landscape photography. It went from this to this. But I start my day with a nice quiet walk across the bridge. Just tidying up here, removing some pieces of grass. Notice the ones in the bottom right hand corner which I've missed. Well, there we are. Decided to photograph this piece of gnarled wood, and I shot it at usual, what was it, thing on f11 at, what was that, a quarter, it's a quarter, 100 ISO. So as you may see, I did a bit of pruning, a bit of gardening, get away from some of the little bits of grass sticking up, and I think I've missed a few, so I'll have to go back and do that. I've shot it so the brightest parts are just below the highlight warning, so exposed to the highlights, so those bright parts of the wood, so you've got more information in the shadows to play with and render it how I want. Well, I'll put this one through LUMINAR 3 again, minimal adjustments on it, and then export it into Photoshop just to mask out and dark down the outer focus bits on the corners, just to make it pop a bit more. Well, since it's so windy, I'm photographing this little tree. I'm trying to get low down. There's a little bit of juniper tree which is poking up underneath, and I'm trying to hide that with the actual trunk of the small tree. So if I get further enough down, there's only a slight bit showing, so I can hopefully clone that out. You don't want to get too low, otherwise you lose the perspective of it being a huge tree on the side of the hill, which is not. It's only about 3 foot across. And a weird wave in the background. Yeah, that's alright. Well, we'll see what that turns out like. Well, another LUMINAR 3 treatment. I had to dial back some of the treatments because they're a bit over the top, but not bad, I suppose. What I'm trying to do is, I've photographed it to expose it to the right, so just the light detail of the waves is just below being blown so I'm not getting the highlight warnings, but I've done one exposure, a quarter of a stop, which has gone over, and it's given me those warnings, so I've come back down again. So I'm shooting at where's it gone? A quarter second f11 at 100 ISO, and because the contrast is dropped now and the scene's getting lit from the bounce light from the clouds, which is behind you, it's showing up the colours of the Scotch pine trees quite nicely. So I'll put this up and see what do you think. Well, here we are, LUMINAR 3 again. I had to tone it down a bit on the foliage enhancer and darken the bottom a bit more. I decided to change position and shot this little thing off slightly wider view along the scene. Anyhow, here it is. Well, I pushed this through LUMINAR 3 again, and unfortunately there's a little patch of sky on the left hand side there which is a bit too bright, but then again I just thought I'd leave it. The shot's really not worth sort of spending more time on. I have a darker frame for it, but I could merge it in later, but I didn't have time to do it. It's all gone mental. Well, as I was packing up, the sun came out, but I didn't know what to take. All the compositions didn't sort of line up, so I ran around like an idiot trying to find something to photograph. Don't know what to do. Well, this is a completely unbalanced composition. That tree on the left is just too bright. It'd be better if I flipped it 180 degrees, but maybe that's going a bit too far. Well, here's LUMINAR again. I've just darkened it slightly with Vignette and minimal accent, AI accents on it, but there it is. Well, here's the portrait version. A tighter shot in. Well, I'm chasing the light uphill. It's gone off that scene. So I'm hoping to try and find something else to shoot a bit further up. It's like being in an oil painting. It's beautiful. Well, it was a bit windy here. I didn't have time to sort the audio out, so just ignore what I'm saying. Well, I just grabbed this shot as the light was rapidly racing up the hill, and then I pushed it through LUMINAR 3 again, sort of semi-corrected the lens distortion. Hope you like it. Right, so we're shooting. There we are. 2 trees on the hill. And I've shot it so there's just a bit of highlight warning on the edge of the moon, which is over to the right of that silver birch tree. And also did ones which are 1/3 and 2/3 under that exposure. So there you have it. I've tried moving left and right, but because of the get the moon closer, I'll wait a little bit I suppose. The moon will be close to the actual trees themselves. There's a bush on the right where it sort of stops me from moving round to the right to shorten the distance between the moon and the tree. Well, if you play around with the position of the camera in relation to the moon, you can either get it closer or further away by moving from side to side. Move to the left, the moon moves to the left because it stays in a relative same position where the trees move to the right, and the moon's always moving slightly over, so you've got to be aware of that. So, and if you want the moon either higher or lower in the horizon, because these trees are between us, if you go down slightly or up, it will move relatively. And I've sort of got it. I think I might take a bit higher shot because it's like a little a notch in the formation of the trees, where it sort of mirrors where the moon could move into. So let's try that. So 2-second timer, about 15th at f11. Because I've moved the tree up into that notch, so you have to move it up. It looks a lot more pleasing. So you've got the shape is like, so the moon sweeps down the silver birch and then intersects the bottom of the other tree, and then the form sort of fans out into the rest of the negative space. So I'm happy to move over to the right, on the left, sorry. So the moon's slightly moving over towards the tree. So the tree's moving a bit now, just a bit of wind up there. And I can't tell. Got my glasses today, I've left them in the car. Well, seems alright. Anyhow, you'll know later. It's part of the creative process. I want to do like that. Right, I think that's it for this composition. Because I'm moving over to the left, there's another set of trees on the left hand side which are coming into the frame, and also the silver birch is moving faster now. Here's a selection of two of the shots, one at the beginning of the little shoot and another one at the end. You can tell how the light levels would drop in really fast and how it affects the scene. And here are those two shots pushed through LUMINAR, mainly to add a bit more contrast in the shadows or alter the tonal range a little bit. Well, there you have it. See if you like them. Well, LUMINAR's AI accent doesn't do very well with flat skies. It tends to add some weird halo effects.